Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're having a great and wonderful day. And it seems Joe Biden is again off his rocker as he's starting to claim himself as a black woman president during a radio show. Yeah, you heard that correctly. He claimed himself as a black woman president. I'm not quite sure where to go from here because the moment that you start calling yourself a black woman president in a non-joking manner is really quite a hilarious feat in itself. So I think that should be something that should be talked about a bit because he ain't there, folks. He ain't there. And this is what we have here from the great Biden calling himself, a black woman president.
So I'm proud to be, as I said, the first vice president, first black woman, served with a black president. I'm proud of the first black woman in the Supreme Court. There's just so much that we can do because together there's nothing. Look, this is the United States of America.
Yeah, so he calls himself a black woman president. This is kind of concerning. I'm not quite sure what's going on here, but insanity at its finest, right? So we have here Joe Biden, 81, describes himself as a black woman during radio interview. So the gaffe-prone president, 81, stumbled over his words during Thursday's interview with Philadelphia's Word, seemingly mixing himself up with his vice president, Kamala Harris. By the way, I'm proud to be, as I said, the first black woman to serve with a black president. Proud to be involved with the first black woman on the Supreme Court. There's so much that we can do because, look, we're the United States of America. Biden appeared to be highlighting his appointment of Kamala Harris as the United States' first black female vice president. Confusingly, he himself was previously president, which is likely what he was referring to, and to serve with a black president. The president sat down with a black radio host in Milwaukee and Philadelphia for his first post-debate interviews following a disastrous fallout in the week since. His gaffe has since set the worlds of media and politics alight, with New York the Times among the prestigious liberal publications highlighting it. Biden admitted that he had a bad debate last week, but argued it didn't outweigh what he's done in office. I had a bad debate, but 90 minutes on the stage doesn't erase what I've done for 3.5 years, he told the Word's Andrea Lawful Sanders. Biden repeated the argument he's made since his terrible debate performance, that one bad night doesn't erase his record as president. Biden, your record as president is high inflation, illegal immigrants surging through the border, multiple of our American citizens dead, 13 U.S. soldiers dead due to the Afghanistan debacle. I mean, there hasn't really been anything to be warned of amazing things. So when you say your record for presidency, it doesn't really mean too much here. It says the president's camp was heavily critical of the media in response to the controversy. It was clear what President Biden meant. He was talking about his historic record, including a record number of appointments to the federal bench, spokesman Anamar Musa said. Well, of course, we have a few clips here kind of going over what he, kind of explaining exactly what I said here of him, being a, his mistake as presidency during the debate.
Contradicting the White House press secretary, saying Biden was seen by his doctor days after the debate.
He did not get checked out by the doctor. It's a cold, guys. It's a cold. And I know that it affects everybody differently. We have all had colds. And so, no, he was not checked by the doctor.
A White House official tells CNN Biden had a, quote, brief check, not a physical, after the debate. And now appealing directly to black voters in a pair of new interviews.
I had a bad night. And the fact of the matter is that, I screwed up. I made a mistake. That's 90 minutes on stage. Look at what I've done in 3.5 years.
Biden even telling Democratic governors gathered at the White House Wednesday his plan is to stop scheduling events after 8 p.m. so he can get more sleep. The White House's evolving reasons for Biden's bad debate is also raising eyebrows. In private, Biden has acknowledged that the next few days are critical, packed with a high-profile interview and 2 stops in battleground.
Yeah, it's not going too great here for Mr. Biden, right? So it's quite terrible. And we have this here where CNN's Sanjay Gupta calls on Biden to undergo detailed cognitive and neurological testing. Yeah, so yeah, it's not great here. Again, we also have this was from Mediaite and from the Daily Mail, also saying that top CNN doctor Sanjay Gupta calls for President Biden to take detailed cognitive testing. It can lead to dementia. So we're going to show you that a brief clip here of kind of going over it.
Calling for President Biden to undergo detailed cognitive and neurological testing and then share his results publicly. Dr. Sanjay Gupta joins us now. Sanjay, tell us what your reaction was to the debate and what's transpired over the last week. Based on you calling for a cognitive test, it's quite clear you believe that these questions about his fitness should be taken seriously.
Yeah, I think there was a level of concern, and I heard this from a lot of doctors, frankly, who are brain specialists like me from around the country and around the world. I mean, the essay that I wrote, Jim, is not a political one, it's a medical one. And frankly, many of the things that, people saw, I think, were not even necessarily new episodes. But what they were, I think, were more sustained and I think a little bit more profound for people to see that. I think that's why testing can be so important. And I think the real question you're trying to answer is, are these episodes just episodes that could be explained by lots of things, a poor night's sleep, low blood sugar, viral illness, or is this reflective of something that is deeper, a condition that could potentially be treated as well, Jim? And I think that's a really important point.
The funny point that I have in all of this is that this is quite obvious from the get-go why this is going on. Like, we've seen this where the cognitive decline of Joe Biden, where it was just simply hasn't been great. I mean, he wasn't great in 2020. He got the nickname from Trump from being called Sleepy Joe because he kept on falling asleep. And that was, I would say, the first signs of him kind of reaching this level. And now it's just beyond repair. There's nothing to do about it. And it's not doing too great here for Joe here. I mean, it's like CNN, time after time after time, is just saying, well, you have cognitive problems.
Some of the signs that we saw that people observed during the debate, the slowness of speech, the halting of speech, sometimes the confused ramblings. Again, these are types of things that can be explained by lots of different things, and you cannot make a diagnosis simply by observation. But that's why it may warrant more testing. If he were my patient, frankly, if he were my father, I would advocate for this sort of testing. Again, in large part, because there might be something you can do about it.
Yeah, and it just keeps on getting worse and compounding to the issues. So again, we will have this here from the actual article saying that CNN's chief medical expert Dr. Sanjay Gupta has joined the chorus of voters who want President Joe Biden to undergo rigorous cognitive testing to determine his mental fitness for the job. Dr. Gupta argued that aspects of the 81-year-old's disastrous showing at last week's debate against Donald Trump were significant signals that he needs to be tested for signs of cognitive decline, which could be a precursor for dementia or Parkinson's. Dr. Gupta, a practicing neurosurgeon, noted the president's halting speech, confused rambling, sudden loss of concentration, stiff gait, and a lack of facial animation. It caused a flurry of messages from fellow neurologists who said that Mr. Biden should be encouraged to undergo detailed cognitive and movement disorder testing, and those results should be made available to the public. The calls from Gupta, whose network has been an ardent supporter of Biden, shows how a growing number of his ardent supporters are losing steam for the party's nominee. So, yeah, it's not good, right, guys? He is obviously in great cognitive decline, but we all knew this. Like, we all knew that he was in cognitive decline. It's just taking forever for the media to go and talk about this. Like, it's just insane. Like, it wasn't like too long ago they were saying like, oh, Biden is in great health. Oh, he's mentally sound. He isn't cognitively declining or anything, and it just shows that he is cognitive declining, and we know he is, and it's not looking good, and he's fun to be called out for it. And I think if they do this, a cognitive test, he's going to fail massively. He is going to fail massively, and the public will, even more of the delusional public, will know that this is a problem, and they'll have to face the music. Alright, guys, that's it for the video. Like, share, as always, take care, my friends.
I'm disgusted by what I see in public. Even people closest to us can't be trusted. This is algorithmic disease, the social media.